All right, guys, Jay here, Opkee Investors, and today we have a teachable moment. And this teachable moment is we are still utilizing a trader that lost 90% in his master account, which was a demo account, but it's still a master account in one freaking day. And the teachable thing is, why are we keeping this guy around? Why are we not just firing him? Because in our real money accounts, we did not lose 90%. In fact, at the very at the very least, we made 40% in 2 months. So let me show you how that worked, and based on his recommendations on how we traded his trade Copier. And I want to give you his explanation for losing 90% in this one day. First of all, let's take a look at this My FX book and some of the stats. It shows right here that the gain, I round this up to 90%, 84%, 90%. It still looks horrible, right? And it shows you what the drawdown was, 91%. And the balance, you see this from a deposit of $1,000. Now here's the thing, guys. We started this September 3rd, 23, and it blew the account around November 14th. So that's a little bit over 2 months. It could be a little bit less than 2 months, but I want to share this with you. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but on November 13th, it had gained 75%. In less than 2 months, 75%. Okay, the first reason we knew that this was a highly high risk proposition that we were getting ourselves in. Of course, we can lower that based on what sort of equity protection we had in there, and we all think differently. It's only three of us, right? And we're trading our own accounts, but we have different settings depending on what we choose to do with this particular trader. So November 13th, 75% up. The next day he was down 92%. Let's just say that it was a blown account. So what in the hell happened? Let me show you his answer to me when I asked him, man, you blew your account in one day. Let me show you his answer. Now, one thing I can say about this guy, he's a communicator. Each time I try to communicate with him, he generally hits me right back in 5 minutes to an hour, depending on what he has going on. But that I can respect. But check this out. I said, damn, what happened? 90% hit? This was his answer back. Trader error. I love people when they take 100% responsibility. In this game, we know even the best of them will make mistakes. And if it's not them, it can be the broker that can screw us, or it can be technology that can screw us, the VPS that can screw us. So there's a lesson to learn from this. I left the EA active on a high news cycle. That means he meant to turn it off, but he didn't. That's exactly what that means. Most of your people should still be in high profit if they use the equity protection suggestion. He meant to put suggestion. Newcomers should be anymore. I think he meant no more than 25% drawdown. Now, how is that possible? Now, people in the know, they understand this. I went back and I did a custom analysis one day before the big drawdown. Now, this is what it was looking like. And that's why I say don't get too excited, no matter how good it looks. Here we go. So on the 13th, I had this custom analysis all the way up to November 13th. Remember, all the damage was done on November 14th. So we were up 75% in 2 months. You can't beat that. 26% a month? Crazy. So we know we've been in this game long enough to know that that's not going to last forever. And the balance then was over 1750, right? So when we look at and this is important too, guys, the drawdown to that point was only 7%. Now, this is what he suggested, and through our back test, this is what we came up with as a group. We were going to put a trailing equity stop of 20%. What that means is if it goes down, if he screws up, something happens, we have a automatic robot that will take us out of the market at a 20% loss. And that's exactly what happened to us, because all of us did that. All of us had a 20% stop loss, equity stop in it. In other words, it'll shut everything down and protect at least 80% of what we have. So what does that look like? So at 1750, this drops down the next day. He's going to lose 90% of it, but what happened is it will allow us to lose around 20%. Now, of course, if it's rapid enough, if it's like a limit down or something like that, they're not going to get us out of the market quick enough, but they did get us out of the market. When I say they, I mean the robot and the broker working in tandem. So we're down to like $1,400. Not bad. So in essence, we won with a 40% gain for the 2 months, because it took us out at 20%. 20% of 1750 is right. What is that? Around 350 bucks. So that's how you protect yourself, especially with these high performing, high risk traders and EAs. And we know that he's trading with an EA. That's why he calls it a managed EA. He gets us in and out. He adjusts all the settings. He does all of the research, the whole 9 yards. The only thing that we do is make our own decisions based on our personal risk tolerance. But we all decided, all three of us decided, yeah, let's just go with protecting at least 80% of where we are. Now, this is what would have happened if someone got in here. If someone got in here with $1,000, the next day they would have been down 20%. In other words, they wouldn't have lost $1,000. They would have lost $200, because that's 20% of 1,000. So they would have started the next day off, or the next cycle off, at $800 in their account instead of zero. And here's another way. I love to take notes, and I had sent some of this to the trader himself. But when you look at this, guys, it shows you what trades were, and I just put the Euro trader, September 3rd to November 14th, down 80% in 2.5 months. It wasn't even 2.5 months though, right? And then I showed that it was up over 70% to November 13th. As you've seen, it was up 75% at that particular time. Now, and then I put what made it a winner. I sent this to my partners so they would understand. They know how what a nerd I am when it comes to this, but I've got to make it simple for me, because I'm not one of those statisticians. Is that how you say it? I'm just a old country old man. What made it a winner? Expectations. In other words, we didn't expect it to continue to run at 20% plus a month. No way. We were waiting for that month that we would have a losing month. But again, because we were working with a professional, we didn't expect him to forget and be 90%. But we hit, 90% drawdown. But we hedged for that, as he suggested that we do. And we came up with our own 20%. If he says 10% drawdown, we're going to go with 20%. If he said 15% drawdown, we would have went with a 30% drawdown, because we know better. And that's experience. All right, number one thing, that this is what could have happened to make it a winner. Number one, could have just turned the EA off, and normally he would have turned the EA off because it was untrusted news, right? And we still would have been up 75%. That would have happened. Let me just show you the untrusted news. At 1 a.m., and this is Central Standard Time, this is what affected Great British Pound, man. And anything that affects the Great British Pound, if it's red, is probably going to affect the Euro as well. And that's exactly what happened. And these were the 2 days in a row. Red, 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 red. So that's one of the things that he would do, and I would do, and anyone would do. and we'll walk a little gingerly during these news items. All right, the equity stop, that's what we actually did, and so we made $400 on that. So that's cool, and that's 40%. Of course, if we're doing it with 1,000, and our minimum of real money was 1,000 on this. 3 was just blown account. If person didn't have an equity stop loss in there, um, they would have been shit out of luck. What else can I tell you? So it says the trade copy account will be reset November 19th. We did not do that. We are resetting it for the first of the year. We're in the holiday season right now, but we are celebrating a good trader, a good EA manager with a 40% gain. So guys, go out there, make some good money. Hope you understood this. Again, risk management is so important. Actually, it's two things here: expectation management and risk management. Go out there and make it happen, guys. Make some real money.